Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of your Columbus Urban League Minority Business Assistance Center education series. My name is Janine Hooks, and I am proudly serving as the interim director for the Columbus Urban League MBAC. It's my pleasure today to be a part of this fantastic panel. You can see across my board here, we've got some of our subject matter experts from the construction and contracting world joining us today, and they are here to share their expertise in regards to what does it really take to network effectively with them. Since we've been operating in these trying times, a lot of our in-person and live events have not been realized for safety reasons. So it has been challenging for some of us to find a way to continue to share our business, our capability statement, or to even meet some of these people that are in charge of or know the inroads to procurement and contracting. So I wanted to make sure that we created the opportunity and the space to have those people with us today, and they graciously jumped at the opportunity to present in front of you. So I'm just delighted that they are here. I will give them in just a moment a chance to introduce themselves. As we're filing in, this is going to be a very successful webinar, fully packed with information. So I hope you have your pen and paper ready and that you're going to be taking notes. We will have contact information for you for all of the people that are available here, and we will share that with you as well as a recording after the webinar is conducted. I know that you will have questions as we go through this. So I ask that you put your questions in the chat, and I will manage the chat for you towards the end of the webinar. I have 2 pages of questions for them on my own. So after I do my Oprah Winfrey thing, we'll make sure that we engage the panelists with the questions that you have here for us as well. I just want to make sure that we all know how to use the chat. So I'm going to test you guys a little bit as you're filing in. Give me one word in the chat box on how you're feeling today, just today, how you woke up on Wednesday, April the 28th. Just give me one word on how you're feeling. And all right, here you go, y'all. Look, feeling great. I love it. Bill Pitts, feeling awesome. Good to see you again, Bill. Everybody's blessed. Deborah, okay. Edwin, good to see you, Edwin. Welcome in. Alan, Monica Butler, feeling energized, feeling wonderful. Awesome. I feel the energy and I appreciate you responding to me. So now we know how to engage with one another. I'm going to go ahead and open up the conversation with our panelists. And I want to first go to Miss Ginger Cunningham. She and I have spent several weeks planning and organizing and discussing the who, what, when, where for this webinar. So I just want you, Ginger, to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and a little bit about why you're here today.
Well, as you all know, I'm Ginger Cunningham, and I originally was born in Cleveland, Ohio, but grew up in London, Ohio. So not only did I realize and get educated in the big city, I also was educated in the farm community. My company is Ginger Cunningham and Associates. We're now celebrating our 11th year in business. We are now known nationally on the national level. We have offices not only in Columbus as our home base, but we have office in Cleveland and also in Fort Lauderdale. And we're in our Fort Lauderdale office is beginning to become active, and I'm really excited about that.
Thank you, Ginger. Next, we're going to go to Simone. Simone, will you introduce yourself and where you're from?
Hello, everyone. My name is Simone Burley, and I'm with the Franklin County Engineers Office. I'm the Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator. In July, it'll be 2 years. I have been with Engineer Robertson. In my prior life, I was a paralegal for the city of Columbus, and I made this a career change recently. I worked for the city attorney's office prior to coming over to the engineer's office. So Engineer Robertson has been in office for about 4 years now. He took office in June of 2017. And we recently launched during the pandemic what we call the Franklin County Engineers Equitable Business Enterprise Program. So I'm here today just to share a little bit about that program and how you can go about getting opportunities with our office.
Thank you, Simone. We can't wait to learn more about that. I feel like I'm on the Brady Bunch. I'm going to go over to Barbara. Barbara, will you introduce yourself and where you're from?
I forget I'm on mute. My name is Barbara Colbank. I am originally from Mansfield, Ohio, and I moved to the big city Columbus area 10 years ago when I accepted a position at the Solid Waste Authority of Central Ohio. If you're not familiar with who SWACO is, we are the landfill. We take in all the solid waste from Franklin County and surrounding areas. Previously, I worked 20 years for a large construction company. I did acquisitions, strategic planning, process improvement, and I also got involved with the bid preparation for any projects that we were bidding on. Now I'm on the other side of the table and I do all of the procurement for SWACO. I monitor it. I try to increase our participation. And since the COVID pandemic started last March, we have been making an effort to increase our participation for minorities, disadvantaged businesses. And so my outreach is to increase participation. We don't use subcontractors so much. We're more contractors, but we're a small agency. So that's what we're here for. We want to increase our participation, get more companies involved.
Wonderful, Barbara. You and I actually have something in common. I'm from Lucas. If you've been in Mansfield.
Oh, yes, I do.
All right, girl, we'll have to chat later.
Yes.
Small town girls rule. I love it.
Yes.
I'm gonna bounce down and ask Christopher Runyon to introduce himself and where he's from.
Thank you. My name's Chris Runyon. I want to say right off the bat that bright orange is not my typical color, but today is Wear Orange Wednesday in honor of the National Work Zone Safety Awareness Week. So I want to let you know when you driving through work zones, think of Chris Runyon in his bright shirt and make sure you slow down and don't be distracted while you're driving. So
Awesome.
I'm representing the Ohio Contractors Association today. We have 200 members that are active contractors statewide and another 300 members who provide goods and services, things that contractors need to get things built. Our membership basically does horizontal work, not vertical work, meaning we do bridges, utilities, roads, water, wastewater, and those types of facilities. So I'm very honored to be asked to be a part of the panel today.
Thank you so much, Chris. And if you had let me know, I'd have worn some orange today too, but got to work on those memos. All right, John, you're up.
Thanks, Chris, for calling me out not wearing orange today in Work Zone Awareness Day. But my name's John Eigel. I'm the president of the George J. Eigel and Company, Inc. here in Columbus, Ohio. I'm a fourth generation owner of, it's our 110th year in business this year. And we're what we call a heavy civil construction firm. So we do all those really exciting things like roads and bridges and sewers and water lines, you know, all the exciting things, as my wife often mentions to me. But we have over a couple hundred construction professionals that work here, operators and laborers and estimators and the like. I grew up in Columbus, fairly obviously. I've got a civil engineering degree. I've been president since the 90s. And I appreciate you asking me to be here today. I'm excited to help share what we can, and we're all better together if we share, and we can accumulate knowledge and be better together. So happy to be here.
Awesome, John. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Halima, which you have been a regular on the MBAC programming. So again, I thank you for being with us today. Tell us a little bit about who you are and where you come from.
Sure. First of all, I'd like to thank the MBAC for asking me to come back and once again share information with everyone. My name's Halima Shafiq, and I own what was formerly known as Green Office Furniture Solutions. Now it's known as GOFS Commercial Interiors, and I have a GOFS Supply and GOFS Technology companies as well. I've been in the Columbus industry and been in business here for 13 years. I've lived here longer than that, but I am also from another town in Ohio. I do look forward to talking to everyone today and just kind of sharing some experiences as a small business owner and as a person that has had both federal and state contracts across the country, actually, to be able to share some ideas and best practices for subcontracting and things that I've learned along the way.
Awesome, thank you. So that's going to lead me into really kind of my first bank of questions, which is around subcontracting. And I'm focusing in that area because many of our business constituents are not quite at the prime level. They are still looking for those subcontracting and or joint venture opportunities. So let's start with that. What qualities are important for a subcontractor? And I'll just let whoever wants to jump in the fray first address that question from your standpoint.
Well, I'll jump in. Because I have, my company has done a lot of subcontracting over the past 11 years. And I think some of the qualities are, as a subcontractor, is learning the business even better than what you anticipated. Because working under a prime, there is so much information that you can learn from them if you are wanting to move your company from a subcontractor to a prime company. If you're under a good prime contractor, they're more than willing to kind of mentor you if you so ask. I'm excited right now because I'm a subcontractor on a project that's getting ready to start very shortly. It's one of the biggest projects that I've been a part of since my company has been established, and doing diversity inclusion and being able to reach out to contractors, subcontractors that are in the construction arena, and giving them an opportunity to get their foot in the door to get on a lot of projects really makes me excited.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anyone else want to weigh in on that?
I'd like to add to that as well. For those that are interested in subcontracting, especially if you're looking at a larger construction project, definitely focus on the actual divisions that you feel that you can perform very well on. Make sure that you can bring some ideas about how your company can help the process go a lot smoother for the general contractor, any new technologies or anything that you might be have incorporated that can help them not have to have as many concerns as they've had in the past. But if you know a little bit too about the subcontractor you want to work for, those are things that can help you too. So you can build that statement that speaks towards how you bring your value to them as a subcontractor.
So you're talking a little bit more about really knowing the prime, right? And what their needs are and how they operate and the way that they're operating on some of these projects. So from some of you that can speak from a prime perspective, what are you looking for in a subcontractor? Just kind of some of those things that are immediate, like, oh yeah, they get it. Can you give us some of that from a prime contractor's perspective?
Well, I've talked to a lot of our members about this. Almost every project that a heavy highway contractor does has subcontractors involved. And first and foremost, please give us a firm that can do the work, that can demonstrate that they've done the work, that they've got the personnel to do the work, and understand that they are a part of a larger team on any job. And their function, it may not be critical on day one, but there will come a day when their work is critical for the success of the project and for achieving the outcomes that the owner expects. And so I hear over and over again, please give us qualified contractors that can fully demonstrate they can do what they say that they're going to be doing.
Okay, so in the MBAC world, we talk a lot about that on the capability statement when it comes to past performance. Share with us some ideas or nuggets on how we can really get that past performance to talk about qualifying us to be seen as valuable to the project.
John, John and I are kind of on the same page here. So, I think, for instance, I'll use ODOT as an example. Everybody talks about ODOT and their pre-qualifications, but as you start out as a contractor, you do not have to be pre-qualified on day one. It's a demonstration of your at least your beginning capabilities, your staff and identifying their experience, and that you have the equipment, the manpower equipment to do a job that you've been assigned to do. And, you have the opportunity to grow until you have to take that big next step, to get actually pre-qualified as a prime. So you have the abilities, first and foremost, make those contacts. You've got to be reaching out to the prime contractors. You've got to establish relationships. And then as relationships mature, you will get your opportunities, because we need subcontractors. We need what you do.
I love it. I love the fact that relationships, I'm sensing that's going to become a redundant theme across what we're talking about here. From a procurement officer standpoint, what are you looking for in terms of documents that some subcontractors should be presenting to you? Anybody want to take that from a procurement side? Barbara?
Yeah, I'll take it from a procurement standpoint.
Okay.
And it's going to chime in with what Chris was saying. And that is, if we have a contractor that can demonstrate that they're an industry leader, have the knowledge and experience of the work being performed, sure, they may put down their references, but those are going to be good references. We know that. But we want to look at projects that are similar to what we're trying to get work for. So if it's not construction or if it's a professional service, show and demonstrate that you're an industry leader and have knowledge and experience in that area. We're a very small agency. We don't deal with subcontractors. We deal with the contractor directly. And so what we have a problem with is the same thing that these larger organizations are having, and that's having the proper amount of staffing to perform the work. They may submit a bid, but then we award the contract and then they don't have the staff to do the work in the time frame that we need it done. If they're an industry leader and have that knowledge and experience, they're going to be ready. So from a procurement standpoint, if they can demonstrate that they can do the job, they have experience with the job, and are attentive to our project, then we're going to use them again.
Okay, excellent.
Let me also say this too. As a diversity inclusion consultant on a particular highway project that I did in Portsmouth, I would identify those companies that come through the DBE listing with ODOT in special categories. But so many of those smaller companies couldn't get bonded, and that created a problem. So, if you're wanting to get into the business, you have to make sure that you have all your ducks lined up. Do you have the bonding? Can you do the estimating? Do you have the number of staff that you probably need, or employees that you need to handle that particular portion of the project that you're going after? Do your homework ahead of time and see what the requirements are to see if your company actually does qualify for all that.
And I think that's a very good point, Ginger. And then I just want to kind of go back and circle back and complete that thought in terms of, if I don't know where to get that information, guys, where can we go to start collecting some of that background that may be very important so that we can show up in the right way? Where is it?
Well, you need to be talking to a consultant like me that can help advise you. in that direction, okay? Because there are a lot of organizations out there and agencies that can help you get, identify that information, and they can guide you in the process of procuring that information. But yeah, call me. I'll be more than happy to help, put you in that networking cycle to get that information.
Right. And that's what this is about, is creating access, right? We want to break down some of those barriers where people might feel like you're intimidated to approach a large organization or a fourth generation construction company, or even something like Swaco, where, they do a lot of work, even though they're small, relatively. Are you guys family owned, or Swaco? No?
No, we are a political subdivision
Political,
of the
okay.
state of Ohio. We're a government agency, just like Simone's organization.
Okay. Okay. So definitely kind of that institutional barrier, right? When it comes to interacting with the government, we're trying to break down some of those walls there. I want to jump around on my question list here, and I want to get to, does your organization, I would like for each one of you to answer if you can, does your organization have a strategic disadvantaged business target or initiative? Are you focused on inclusion when it comes to working with minorities, women, or people that are socially or economically disadvantaged? John, you've been awful quiet.
Well, I was willing to jump in on that. You give me, but and I'll go back to the question because I did have an answer to it. What do I look for? What do we look for? We subcontract over 100. We write over, although we do half our work as a subcontractor, we also do half our work as a prime contractor. So we as Ginger said, are both ends of the table. So we look really for people who understand what service they're really trying to sell and can articulate it very, very well, because I think a lot of opportunities are out there, and sometimes it's hard to discern which opportunities to take. We need somebody to do striping. Well, can you do guardrail? Well, I think I can. Well, we really need somebody to do guardrail. You have to have the discipline when you set up your business to stay with your original vision of what it is, no matter what other opportunities come. And part of my job and our senior leadership here is to discern which opportunities are best for us. And it's hard because it looks like sometimes there's a whole bunch of them. And in the minority business, everybody's calling and offering a lot of opportunities, but you have to stay focused on what your business plan is. And if you don't have a business plan, get one, because you have to stay focused on it. Everybody say, well, I need somebody to do light poles. It's not real hard. How hard can it be? You put their light pole in the ground, it stands up, everything's great. But the reality is, if you're a striping contractor, you should stay with that. And I like to, with any person, any contractor, we want them to add value, like you've already mentioned. And how can they add value? Being honest, of course, integrity, showing up when they should show up, really just communicating, because it is hard to schedule your work. When you can't be there, communicate. That's what we, because we're going to communicate with you when our schedule slips. We want you to communicate with us when yours. Things happen. And when we make up a story about what happens with you, it's often not a good story, right? If it's if you're a subcontractor. So if you can fill in that story, hey, I can't make it tomorrow, the dog died, whatever happened, at least, so communication is so important, so that you can build a relationship and people can understand it. So I think understanding what you are, staying focused on it, not being diverted by opportunities that are out there, those things, then you can sense you're dealing with somebody who has a purpose and understands what business they're in, and you can feel better about doing business with them, instead of, and sometimes I like to throw off subcontractors just by asking them, well, will you do that? And if they say I can do anything, they're immediately not so high for me. I don't want somebody who can do anything. I want somebody who can do something, that's, and again, who can find out where my pain is, help solve it, go above and beyond, sensing where my pain is, going above and beyond, instead of maybe asking, can you send me plans? Just the tone you ask it. Where can I get plans? It's all the same thing, but the way you ask it makes it sound like I'm going to help you solve your problems. So all those things, I think, a long answer to a short question. But,
It's always the quiet ones, guys. It's always the quiet
all
ones.
right, all right. All right, I'm going
I
back
mean,
on
now
mute. I'm going back on
you,
mute.
no, don't do that. No, but you make such a great point. And, just a little MBAC commercial there, that business plan is critical, right? Because I see business owners get tempted by opportunity, or to make it plain, chasing money. And it takes them off course, and it takes them out of their skill set and out of their strong hand. And now they've got a mixed bag of, who knows what. So really being definite on your business plan and your course of action helps people figure out how you fit into their process. So thank you for that, John. I poke fun, but it's all in love. That was excellent though. So, again, getting back to relationships and communication, this is all about building those bridges with the most important people that you need to be in front of, but also being prepared for that opportunity. I don't want to lose the thread up though on which organizations are being very strategic and looking for those diversity and inclusion opportunities. Is it stated on your website? Do you have something where people can say, this is where I can fit in, or I can help launch my new business in this area? Who's got that?
So Janine, as I said earlier, we have the newly established, well, not so new now, but the Franklin County Engineers Equitable Business Enterprise Program. And that is for our locally funded construction projects. And we recently added our design consultant projects to that program as well. You were talking earlier about relationships and building relationships. Now, any construction project, anything $50,000 and over, that has to be bid out. But from 0 to 50,000, those are where some of our smaller businesses can find opportunities with our office. What they need to do is establish a relationship with our department heads. And, we schedule tons of meet and greets where we're meeting new businesses and trying to get their information and ascertain if they're going to be able to fill our needs. So our website lists all of our departments and our department heads, and that's where you would start as far as those smaller opportunities, trying to set up a meeting with the department head, who will probably bring in some other people in the agency to sit in on that as well, and just, kind of introduce yourself and let us know what you have to offer.
Okay, and I think that's good to know, because I have heard from some of my constituents that procurement officers are unapproachable. I've sent my emails and my capability statements, and I'm not getting anything back. So it would be great to know and to believe, I'll say that we can approach these people, with our credentials and say, hey, I want an opportunity, or this opportunity looks like it's a good fit for me. Who else can I talk to? I like that. Anyone else?
I'll put a link in the chat to our department heads section on our website.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it.
Yes,
Halima,
I was going to add that, I'm glad she brought up the meet and greets. I will say, as a small business owner, getting out and networking, and even doing the virtual meet and greets that are happening now via Zoom and other platforms, for you to have an opportunity to meet with these organizations and the general contractors, and tell them about your capabilities and find out about opportunities that they have. I would highly suggest that small business owners who are trying to be involved in any of these projects that are construction projects do that. Put yourself in the room, get on the call. And if you're not available to do that, if there's a recording or something, but the nice thing about it is it still gives you the opportunity. In some cases, you can still have 5 to 10 minutes with a procurement specialist in a private room on the Zoom or something, and an opportunity to tell them about your capabilities. So I know we've all been shut in and starting to try to get out, but there's still opportunities to meet and tell people about your company and your capabilities, and doing that virtually if that's what you have to do.
Awesome. Can you all talk to me about the utilization of capability statements in your profession? Do you use them? Do you look at them?
I definitely look at them. if a person comes to me interested in starting up their business, or their business has been in existence for about a year, one of the first things I ask them is, do you have a capability statement? Okay. Or do you have a brochure or a profile as it relates to, your company? Examples, especially if you've been in business for a year, if you've got pictures of some of the projects that you've been on, I need to see what it is you're doing. I work with them very closely in directing them to the right agencies. And if they're wanting to do work with the city of Columbus, then I guide them as it relates to, okay, you need to be certified as a minority or women-owned business or so forth, and be registered with the city. You also need to make sure that you do have your capability statement together. And I'll look at their capability statement to see if it's the information on there is the right information, because a lot of them don't even know what a capability statement is. And you really have to help guide them through that process. And sometimes it may take me a few months to get them to a point to where I can set up a meeting with them to meet with the various different individuals of those government agencies. But, it's interesting, but I'm prepared to help them in any way I possibly can.
Awesome. And that help is very much needed. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to mention, as a construction association, our role here at OCA is somewhat different than, as a contractor or providing services, that certify or bring subcontractors on. But our role is more helping to formulate relationships between our members. And we do that through 9 chapters that we have around the state of Ohio. Each of our chapters have their meetings in the course of the year that are both informative and social in nature, to allow those relationships to be formed and grow. We also have an initiative that's included in our strategic plan. It's called the Culture of Care, which is affiliated with really a national effort to bring awareness to cultural and diversity issues within a contractor's own organization, to understand and highlight that they are doing things that promote hiring those that are not well represented within the construction industry, and also make accommodation for instance, for female workers versus male workers, and just different problem issues that involves that. We also have a Dbe committee here within our association that works on Dbe issues. Many times it's challenges that our Dbe certified or EDGE certified members may be having with the process, with a governmental entity. And we're good at kind of making connections with either folks in the correct offices within the governmental bodies that make some of these decisions and help begin to shape and mold how the program is created and administered.
I think that's fantastic. And I think would also be a good show for someone to seek membership with associations like yours, Chris, and put that on their capability statement. So I'm gonna keep circling back to that capability statement, because that's really part of what we do, right? From a coaching and counseling standpoint and a readiness standpoint to get business owners ready to engage with all of you. That kind of leads me to my next question. And what other associations do you like to see that someone is affiliated with or is on their capability statements? Not to give you any shade there, Chris, but we want to see what else is out there in kind of that membership, association, affiliation, alliance network.
Absolutely. I think there needs to be, a broad inclusion, because many of us deal with different things. We may deal with the heavy highway, but there are vertical contractor organizations. There are organizations that deal specifically on on edge and DBE issues. You know, it takes a village. Is that the
That's
right
right.
statement? There you go.
What other associations are out there, guys, do you would like to see people participate in or is beneficial?
If I could comment on that, as a smaller government agency, we use Iowa Department of Administrative Services, we use Sourcewell, we use a lot of organizations that use disadvantaged businesses. They've been thoroughly checked, but we piggyback off of those contracts a lot because we are a smaller agency. So if they have contracts with Ohio Department of Administrative Services or other agencies, that helps us know that, yes, you've worked with a government agency, so you have experience in that area. And that helps us know, okay, you're familiar with how we handle our contracts. That alone will get our attention. So if you're on that list of DBEs for ODAS, sometimes we'll go to that list. That helps us as a smaller government agency.
For me, oh, go ahead, Ginger.
Okay. Oh, gee, thank you. Respecting your elders, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
It is very important that as a business owner to look at those organizations out there in the community that that can best help you move forward in the direction you want to take your company. For instance, I belong to ComTO, and because of ComTO, I received a national award back in 2018 from ComTO, and that helped elevate me to the national level. And I'm certainly appreciative of what it has occurred and realizing the benefit of being a member to ComTO. But not only ComTO, I'm a member of the Ohio Contractors Association because I've got a lot to learn from the Ohio Contractors Association. For instance, there was a situation as it relates to some new legislation or whatever that came out as it relates to the disadvantaged businesses. And they sent a newsletter out and so forth and kept us informed. And if we had any questions, we could go back through to them and they would look up and try to get the answers for us. And I feel that my membership there is very important because it keeps me informed of the pulse beat that's out there especially in construction. I also belong to the National Association of Minority Contractors. And that has been very beneficial for me, even though I don't do construction work. Because I am a consultant, I'm in that arena and I need to know what the pulse beat is, not only locally, but nationally.
I was going to add an entrepreneur. I'm sorry, I hear echo. Am I the only one that hears that, or is everything okay on your end?
I think you're okay now.
Okay, great. But I belong to ComTO as well, and there's other organizations that I found are very important. For example, in construction, a lot of times the projects that we are working on, or the part of the project we're working on, has to do with FF&E, the furniture and the fixtures. But for us, most of these projects are starting or will continue to have some type of LEED certification or LEED requirement. So it was important for me to join the U.S. Green Building Council and be involved in a lot of the collection of information, the learning seminars and things like that, so that we can provide the information that's necessary for those types of projects that have those goals. So those are some of the things that we'll look for and help us determine, which organizations is it important for us to be members of and why, and what can we learn that helps us in our professional area of construction that can help us and have those resources available to us.
Awesome.
I
Awesome.
also forgot, let me say this before I get in the doghouse. I also belong to the Central Ohio African American Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
I'm a past board member of that organization, and locally that has been very beneficial for my company also because it gets the word out as it relates to the minority companies in the community, and there's a lot of information dealing with finance and stuff that comes through that organization.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And ComTO came up a couple of times for those participants and attendees that might not know. Quincy's put the contact information in the chat for you. So we'll make sure that that's accessible and easy to access. And we will keep track of the associations that have been mentioned and make sure we include that in our webinar feedback to all of you. So that's awesome. And just a quick rundown, are there costs associated with some of these associations and alliances that a business owner needs to factor in? I mean, I gotta ask, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
There's,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
there's cost
Yes.
associated, but honestly, for me personally, I feel that what we get out of those organizations, it's definitely worthwhile. It's always great to have, there's a lot of free resources out there, but when you're looking at something that you're doing that's a little more specified, and it's something that has requirements for people to get their certification once this is completed, you want to make sure that you invest in that for yourself, for your company. And I think it goes a long way too when that appears on your capability statement,
Mhm.
that these are organizations that you're involved in. That helps the procurement professionals understand that you get it. You know that you need to be positioned in a place where if you don't have the resources, you're within a network where you can find access to them.
Let me also say this too. Thanks, Halima. It's also very important to put those organizations on your website if you have a website. Not only, those organizations, their logos that you're a member of, but also your certification logos from the various different government entities, because that's important. Because a lot of people across the country are looking at your websites. And if they can't get a capability statement, so your website is the alternate for them to get information pertaining to your company.
Excellent, excellent. You guys are phenomenal. I mean, that using those important words, making that investment in your business and seeing the value. I mean, what is their phrase out there? Membership has its privileges. It is important to make that investment in your company and to take advantage of the privileges that go along with that. So I'm totally an advocate for building your networking ability with those alliances and associations. So thank you guys for representing that so well. I am going to switch lanes here just a little bit. And there are times in the course of my work with clients where they have a unique offering. It's an innovation or something novel or relatively new. There isn't an RFP or an RFQ out for that yet, but they are solving a problem. Maybe it's a problem you don't have yet, but they are out there trying to solve that problem. So this might be more for Barbara and for Simone and John. How can a business pitch that problem-solving innovation to you, and what would that process look like?
For our agency, it would be contacting the department head.
Okay.
So just get on our website, look at our different departments and try to figure out which department would best benefit from your what you have to offer, and then reach out to that person, and then we can set up a meet and greet.
Okay. Just that easy.
Just that easy.
Wow. When I come back in my next life, I'm going to have a dump truck. And a great idea. John, you want to weigh in on that for us?
Well, it's a broad question, I suppose, and I'm not really, obviously, we're project driven. So if a project has a unique need, then it's, again, going back to the pain, here's this, if you know that project is coming up and can contact us and say, here's a job that's got green curtains on it or whatever it may be, and I'm the expert in green curtains, then, that's going to be great for us. So, and they're really hard to come by. So it's kind of a broad question. If you have a better financial product, be something maybe for our CFO. But again, it's all sales and kind of going back to what you said. One of the things we're working on strategically with sales, sales is a contact business in a contactless world that we've just been dictated upon, so it's a big challenge. And and any challenge is an opportunity, as they say too. So we're looking at how can we take our marketing and our contactless sales and how can we do that? Because right now there are a lot of salespeople are saying, I can't reach my customers, but there are some people who are reaching their customers, and they're going to come out of this a leg up. And so again, it's not about making excuses. It's about finding a way, because there will be a way out of this. And you know, we've got to find a way to stay in touch with our customers and build those relationships, because a lot of people are standing on the sidelines right now. They're going, so we're, again, if you can be strategic about that, you can gain some relationship. It's an opportunity to gain some relationships. So.
Right. I mean, and we've seen quite a few businesses that had to pivot, right? They had to pivot into something new to respond to new environmental situations or conditions, but there isn't a model out there for that. That, like I said, there isn't you guys haven't issued an RFP, but we know that it's going to solve a problem. So go ahead, Chris. I think you wanted to weigh in.
I want to expand on that a little bit. You know, subcontractors are needed, throughout the industry. And what we find are many contractors that can do the same thing, but we want to expand, particularly our minority-owned businesses beyond putting down sidewalk, or driving a truck. And I'll give you two good stories of that. We had one contractor that needed the stone gabion walls, in the baskets. They're in wire baskets loaded with stone. They needed them on a job. So what they did is they mentored a minority-owned company on how to construct stone gabion baskets.
Mhm.
And that became a new line. Also, within the last month and a half, I talked to a minority-owned business who was a steel fabricator. So what they did is, they didn't produce the steel, but they took delivery on steel and drilled the holes in it in the right places and manufactured the plates that needed to be bolted on, and they cut it to the right length and those types of things. Those two examples are not activities where you find a lot of minority businesses competing in that area. So creating a niche, not necessarily in a new product, but a product where there isn't a lot of competition at this point in time, is also an avenue that's very valuable in exploring.
And I'd like to add to that as well, from the small business perspective. Anytime you're responding, I feel, to a procurement or to a solicitation, you have the opportunity to first respond to that, but I also feel it's an opportunity to market your organization. I did that with one project last year. We had an opportunity to kind of bring our solution to the table, and I knew of a wonderful new technology instrument that could be introduced on this project that would solve a great deal of problems that the customer told me they had on the previous phase with another vendor. However, they were asking for what they did before. So I contacted them and asked, I'm going to respond to this, but I'd love for you to give me the opportunity to show you two options. And they said, sure. And I sent them the option that showed them what they wanted. And I sent them the option that showed them what they wanted with the technology that's going to save them money, that's going to save them time, that's going to give them more visibility on the project virtually. And the prices were very close. So to me, it really didn't matter which way they went. And obviously, they've gone with the option with the new technology solution, and we're just now starting to implement this on this new project. But I feel that if you're not thinking about what the response you're sending in is your marketing tool, that is your opportunity to tell the agency or organization you're reaching out to that, hey, my company's here, this is what we do. And you can put that in a format to communicate it to them on that level without, without trying to get them on the phone and those other things, if you have that opportunity.
I think that is so smart, because you're really being intentional, right? You are upselling them and really making them look good, because now they can promote the fact that they have this new technology, this innovation that's being used on the project. So you really have to be a problem solver for the business that you want to subcontract with or be a prime with. I think that's incredible. Awesome. Any other comments on that vein? That was a good discussion. Barbara?
Yes, I have to go right along with her on that, because we've had different contractors. They introduce themselves. It's, yes, they are specialists in environmental safety. Now, that doesn't tell us anything. We handle environmental solid waste, or solid waste that we have to dispose of or recycle. We need consultants. We need people who are experts in their field, just like Halima was saying. And to give that extra advantage, like she gave her client 2 choices. That's the kind of thing we need. We had a contractor who did not have experience in leachate services, which we have quite a bit of. And so we took a chance on this, and they were a minority contractor. It was an all-woman owned. And so she put forth the effort, introduced herself to the project manager, built up that relationship with that project manager to show, here's what I can do. Here's what we have experience in. I'd really like to get a chance. Well, he gave her a chance. Did they do 100% of the project? No, they were not able to. But what that did tell us is that they were good workers. They provided what they could do, and we learned about each other. We learned that they could do the leachate disposal, but they couldn't do the whole project. So we now have a good relationship with them, where they now can take care of the leachate runoff and dispose of it. And it's a minority contractor that has that opportunity. And it's all because she developed a relationship with our project manager. And that's what we like to see. So if you have a specialty or you're an expert in your field, we want to hear from you. If you could, send us your capability statement and your experience. If we can utilize you, we will. And that's what we look for. We had a computer specialist, programmer, another woman-owned business. She introduced herself, and it was exactly what we were looking for at the time. We have now hired another minority contractor. And that's what our strategic efforts are going towards, is we want to expand that opportunity to minorities. We want to hear from you and what your expertise is. And that's our strategic initiative.
Awesome. So attendees, the key word here is relationship building, networking, and marketing. You got to put your best foot forward. And as I'm going into a little bit of wrap up here, I've got 1 or 2 final questions for the panelists. So attendees, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and I will definitely work those in. So some of the conversation has got me thinking, if I'm not a good fit for your organization, is there some sort of a mysterious way that you guys share information about? Might not be a good fit for me, but here, this might be a good fit for you. Does that ever happen in your world? No? Okay.
I'm going to say
Well-
for me, some of the organizations that I'm a member of, I get a lot of information from those organizations. And sometimes it's not information that you would expect that would lead to an opportunity or a path or doorway into an opportunity, but sometimes it does, because once again, it's about relationship building. And I may not have the relationship directly myself, but someone that I meet, because we're all so many, like 6 people removed or something anyway. So someone else that I meet or know from one of my organizations actually knows someone who can get me in the door, right? So again, I think that answers your question, but for me, that's one of the things that I found is why it's important to look at the organizations you want to be a part of and understand that sometimes those can help you strategically learn about companies or get into the door where you couldn't before.
Okay, great. Thank you, Halima. So my last
Can
question.
I say something? One of my competitors, she and I are real good friends. And there are times when she's looking for particular companies in a particular category and she doesn't know of any. And she'll call me, and I may have in my listing of vendors a couple of companies that I can refer to her and vice versa. So over the years, we've established a good relationship in sharing, even though she's a competitor, but we have a good relationship. And I think that's important.
Mhm. Again, we're coming back to relationships. That's great. So last
And I was-
question for you. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to point out, with a title like the Ohio Contractors Association, it doesn't say a lot about what our specialty area is, but, we're all the time getting calls from individuals looking for residential builders, which we'll send down to the Builders Exchange, or commercial vertical buildings. We send them over to the Associated General Contractors of Ohio. So, I think within the association industry, if the caller isn't right on target with who they're contacting, we're happy to push people in different directions that we believe are more beneficial for them.
Okay, spot on. Thank you for that. I knew it was happening, but the question wasn't on your list. So you guys were processing. That's all that was happening.
Janine, can I jump in here?
Sure.
So this is a little bit different situation, but we had an occasion where we were taking quotes for our uniforms, and our chief deputy of operations reached out to me and asked me if I knew of any disadvantaged businesses that we could receive quotes from. So I gave the request for proposal to 3 companies. 2 of them were not able to meet the need, but a woman-owned business submitted her proposal and she ended up getting the job. So she now will be doing the uniforms for our agency. And the downtown may get a quote from her for next year. And CODA has also asked for her information. And I met her at a networking event. So again, forming those relationships are very important because had she not come to that event, all these opportunities that are now opening up for her in this area may not have happened.
Absolutely. You do have to show up. You do have to show up. So let me see. Are you guys holding any networking or matchmaking events that we need to know about or talk about before we wrap up or get into our Q&A with our attendees? Anybody got something coming up, percolating, thinking about?
In the next couple of months, I'm going to start having some matchmaking events virtually on this big project I've got coming down the road. And hopefully it'll probably start August or September. Okay. But I will keep you all informed in my network. Okay.
And MBAC will certainly share that information. Anyone else have anything coming up?
I do have something coming up. We just were awarded a 5-year contract at the end of December, and we're going to be needing some expertise. So I'm actually considering reaching out to Ginger and talking to her about helping me to do a meet and greet and something similar to that to help us get some additional talent that's needed for that contract.
Fantastic. I love it.
And we are also working with Ginger as well. We're looking at putting together an event later on this year. So once that happens, I'll be sure to get that information over to you.
Okay. Good stuff.
And I'll
Good
just add,
stuff.
most associations, OCA and many others, I mentioned it earlier, have regular events where we're bringing our membership together for those kind of opportunities. They're not project specific, which I know what we usually think of as a matchmaking event or that kind of stuff. But we're all about creating those relationships and meeting other contractors.
Good.
And can I add another comment quickly, just kind of related to part of our earlier conversation about being intentional. We had to move into a new office in December, and suddenly I needed things that I didn't have when I was in a shared office space before. And I reached out to COAC. I think Ginger mentioned them earlier, which I'm a member of. And was intentional about, can you send me minority business, small businesses that can do these things? And they sent me over, a list of small businesses we were able to contact to get our new signage, to help move some furniture in. And so I think sometimes too, we have to be intentional. And when we are a prime on a contract and we have a need for subs, those are the things that we are doing. We're trying to be intentional about working with other small businesses. Like Ginger, we work with our quote unquote competitors. We are allies and find a way to utilize each other's resources to build capacity when it's necessary. So those are things that, I just wanted to mention. Think about those things as relationships that you also build with your competitors, and have a clear understanding with one another prior to opportunities coming up, so that you can quickly react to opportunities, whether it's building a joint venture, which is something I'm in conversation with another partner about. And you have to do those things ahead of the opportunity. So put those things in place. Define what your relationship is, so that you don't have that feeling that you're standing on each other's toes, and then start working together to move forward for those opportunities. And then you can be comfortable in that space together and not competitors, right?
Right. So it's the reciprocity law that happens. I do good for you, you do good for me, and we have a synergistic effect, right? 1 and 1
Yeah.
makes 3. And that's kind of what I think we're accomplishing, all of us together on this call today, is that synergistic effect. And we're condensing all of this down to just a few concepts where it's not new, but you do have to do it. You do have to participate in your own success. Someone famous said that better than I, but I'm gonna borrow that. What should business owners know about pursuing business with your organization, either as a subcontractor or a prime, that you wish they knew before you met? What do you wish all business owners knew about pursuing business with your organization before you met them? Like, I wish you knew. Come on, guys, it's not hard. It was on your question sheet.
Well, so a lot of people don't know what the engineer's office does. So I wish they would have maybe researched our agency a little bit more, just to see what it is that we do, to see if they're going to actually be able to fit the need that we have.
All right, do your homework. I love it. What else?
I have to go along with Simone's comment. Do the research. We do a lot of specialty services because of the industry that we're in. We will be improving our website. We're going to have a web portal for businesses to introduce themselves. That way they can just upload their information and I can, get it to the proper project manager. We want to see those innovative ideas. So contact us I can direct you to the right project manager. And if we don't have a call for it or need for it, I'll let you know right there. I won't string you along. So research our industry and understand that we're government and we do have restrictions that we have to abide by. We're not private sector like other construction companies, but we want to hear from you. We want to, if you have innovative ideas or you have a specialty, we want to hear from you.
Awesome. What else?
I will say if you are I'm sorry.
No, go.
Okay. I will say if you're interested in being a subcontractor with us, understand what it is that we do as well. But again, I'm interested in hearing about the new ideas and technology and how you are impacting the industry in a better, efficient way that maybe where someone else isn't. We all have other companies that do what we do, and that impact statement is what I'm usually looking for, and how you can help our organization achieve our goals successfully and on time.
Agreed. It's know your customer, know where their pain is, try to solve that pain. And but then again, bring in new ideas that maybe you can file away and do the networking with is also helpful. But obviously you've got to do some research and know your customer and have a plan for how you think you can sell your service or product to that customer and show them that you've been thoughtful about it or intentional.
Excellent. All right, well, while we are in wrap up, and I'm going to look over our Q&A, if each one of our panelists could put your contact information in the chat so our attendees will know how to reach out to you to start building that networking, that would be fantastic. Thank you, Simone. Let's see here. We have a question on what do you recommend for changes, especially when huge changes occur in today's business? So, you know, as changes are happening, what do you recommend for some of our entrepreneurs and small business owners that are out there trying to approach you?
I would say networking, any type of event that you can go to where you can get information or meet people, take advantage of that.
Okay, another question. What are owners doing to remove barriers to contract directly with certified firms as general contractors? I think that gets back to our diversity and inclusion question. What's happening in your space to help remove some of those barriers to working directly with certified firms?
Well, we have, like I said, we have the Equitable Business Enterprise Program, but we also track all of our participation with disadvantaged businesses. We established a baseline shortly after I got there, and so we know exactly how much we are spending with disadvantaged businesses, and Engineer Robertson is really encouraging us to each year, you know, increase that percentage. And then we have the Equitable Business Enterprise Program that deals with our larger contracts that are bid out through Bid Express. And so we have developed that program now. It includes the design projects as well, just being very intentional about trying to approach the disadvantaged businesses and making sure we are providing opportunities whenever possible.
Okay, excellent. Simone, we probably need to do a webinar just on what you guys have going on in your shop for sure. Okay, another question. What's the best path for a new business who may have some previous experience, but as a new company, so they have previous business experience, but they've pivoted into something new and they want to jump into your space, but they don't have any past performance to really speak to? I think I know the answer, but I want you guys to say it.
I would recommend looking for opportunities where, again, someone that looks like a competitor that does things the way that you think should be done in your industry or similar to the way, seeing if there's opportunities to partner with them on any jobs so you can help build your past performance that way. Kind of a mentor protege relationship where they're willing to mentor you and help guide you and show you how to do things for that specific customer or agency, and then kind of help you learn your way to graduate into holding your own contracts. So that's one of the things that I would recommend.
Awesome. Anyone else? Well, what I would say is when businesses are looking for subcontractors and you're looking to be inclusive, also look to MBAC. We can search our database for a specific industry or need, and we can supply you with a list. I won't cherry pick it. I just send you the whole list. And then you guys can go through and start to make the contact, which on the other side for my attendees, that's why it's so important for you to continue to be partnered with MBAC, to be registered with us, and to make sure that we're working through all of the business development side so that you can show up and be as impactful as possible when you're approaching the people on this panel. For the people on this panel, your time and your information and your candidness in answering the questions has been absolutely invaluable today. I thank you so very much on behalf of the attendees and on behalf of the Columbus Urban League MBAC program for helping me pull this together and to really let us know, the real deal on what it takes to do business with organizations like yours. I will be looking to contact each of you either independently or for other webinars as we continue to run under this banner of helping our owners and our constituents with the procurement process. We have contact information for all of our panelists listed here for you, and know that we will definitely get you the recording probably in the next coming days, because it takes a little while to download this file. So you will have that. It will also be available on demand on our YouTube channel, and we'll have that information listed in this as well. I thank everyone for their attention and for their engagement, and I wish you the best of the rest of your day. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.